Hello, Jauza Jauza! Welcome to another episode of A Man Who Knows His Way Around, the Teutonic Road Trip 2022. We're in Gdansk, but we're going to take a tour today. We're going to take a little trip. We're going to see a little bit of Gdansk, but not the old town today. We're going to look at the newer parts, and then we're going to go further and further. Exciting. So just bear with me. It's going to be very exciting. We're going to see some beautiful places, interesting places. Enjoy. Have fun. Looky looky. Det är därför att man känner en samhörighet här nere i Gdansk med pojkarna på golvet här. Va? Håll käften på dig. Nu är det jag som kör. Hi, I'm Paul, a man who knows my way around, and you're watching the Teutonic Road Trip 2022, where I'm traveling from Ventspils in Latvia to Gdansk in northern Poland. Gdansk is really part of three cities. It's usually called Tre Mesto. It's the Tricity. It's three cities that are more or less has grown into each other, if you will. It's Gdansk, then comes Sopot, which is like a little bit of a resort town. Yeah, and then of course it's Gdynia. So in front of us we have the Solidarity Museum, or the Solidarność Museum. Solidarity was the union of the workers in the port, the wharf workers. They protested against the fact that they weren't allowed to have their union without government control. This was back in 1970s. And they demanded to have an independent union that wouldn't be interfered with by the government. Since the government was the employer as well, right? Doesn't make sense that the employer is in charge of both the union and the companies. Makes perfect sense to me, at least. So they started striking, and they conducted several strikes. They got what they wanted. They managed to become independent, and then they started demonstrating for more, how should I say, more powers for people, and those kind of things. Anyway, yeah, the Solidarity Museum is probably the best museum in Gdansk. Definitely recommend seeing it if you're here. It tells you a lot about where we have been and how hard it is to change totalitarian governments. So definitely worth it. And this is where it all started, the crumbling of the Soviet bloc. Pretty amazing. And of course, the man who led it, the man who was the union leader, I think he got Nobel's Peace Prize for his work, Lech Wałęsa, was one fantastic man, became the president of Poland later, after democracy was reinstated in Poland. Fantastic man. In awe I am for this man. And they say he's still there. I don't know how old he is. Maybe no one dared to tell him that he should have been in pension. I don't know if that's true. But a fantastic man. Although in those days nobody knew how to pronounce his name, so I remember him being known as Leech Wallister also. Yeah, poor Lech. What's that smell? What's that smell? There's an alarm clock going off here. I know that smell. It smells tank. It smells tank. Where is? Oh, looky. A T-34. Another tank! Yay! So it's a Russian T-34, but it's marked with the Polish insignia. So the T-34 is one of the most produced tanks in the world. And that was its biggest advantage, was that it was easy to build, easy to use, didn't break down so much, it was easy to repair it. So while the Germans made complicated, advanced tanks that broke down all the time and it consumed a lot of fuel, the Russians built simple ones that they could mass produce. They weren't particularly well protected, so the Russians or the Soviet Union would lose hundreds and hundreds of these tanks, maybe even more than that, in thousands. But more survived than were knocked out, and so that's how they won the war, by mass producing this particular tank. Maybe not with this gun though. This particular gun is, as far as I can see, the 76mm. It was not effective against the Tiger tanks that the Germans were having. Later on they equipped it with an 85mm cannon, which was much longer than this, and it could penetrate the tanks, the German tanks. Yeah, so we're coming into a more modern area of Gdansk. Gdansk is really a string of districts. We're now in something called Vyshnyshyno. It's a long series of S, C, and Z's and W's. It's very difficult to pronounce for someone who isn't native speaking. I don't know what's the name of this part of town. I think it could be Zaspa, but that's just me guessing here. Not at all sure. Oliva is the name of this part of Gdansk. Very lush, lots of villas here, green, very pretty. We're in Sopot. So Sopot is an old resort town, really. I think they have a big spa here, world famous spa, and the beach is quite popular in the summer, very popular. Sopot looks like a pretty enough place though, I have to say. Cool. I'm sure it's a nice place to visit, even if you're not interested in the spa. I think it was the place where the hoi polloi got together in the old days. They of course had the money to also make it pretty, and I think that's the case with Sopot. It looks very beautiful, well kept even today. So we are arriving here now in the center of Gdynia, the third city in the Trimiesto, the third three-city city. Gdynia was for a very long time just a small city, a very small town, fisherman town, I think. It really only started becoming a big city, a running nun. That's something that you don't see every day, at least not where I live. Anyway, yes, Gdynia was a small place, but after the First World War, Danzig was not handed over to the Poles as they were hoping. The Poles were hoping. It continued to be a town of its own, a free town, and so it meant that Poland had to, all their export had to go through Gdansk, which wasn't in their control. The Poles started building a big harbor here in Gdynia that was Polish, and the whole idea was, of course, to have their own port and be able to do exports from here. And by the 30s, this port was actually already overtaking the exports going through Gdansk. So in a very, very short time frame, Gdynia became Poland's major harbor. So that's Gdynia. Gdynia really caught on when Poland needed controlling their own exports. They built up a huge harbor here, and it only took them 10 years to make it become a bigger export port than Gdansk. So I'll turn left because we're going to continue to the coast. Now that we've seen the three cities in the Tricity area, I think we're going to try to head out to the beach, to the coast. At least that's the plan right now. So we are coming to the beach of Meshelinki. So everybody gets a last chance, right? This is like the third or fourth chance to find some amber. Now that we are here in Meshelinki, why not? Let's see if we can find some amber. I mean, it's a bit windy today. So we are north of Gdansk, Sopot and Gdynia in a beach called Meshelinki. And this is the Bay of Hel. So I don't think we can see Hel from here. Looking north. Oh! Wouldn't it be fantastic if I found amber on my last day? Should have brought my Wellingtons. So I did find a few stones, but I don't think they were amber. And now it started to drip a little bit. Not really rain, but yeah. I'll just consider this a nice trip. Amber or no amber. Baltic Gold can be here for next time. I'm sure I will come back. It's a beautiful region. Baltic Sea, all the way from Ventspils where I was, and I think further north of that as well. I'm sure Estonia is also very beautiful. And then the whole way down the Nida peninsula in Riga where I was, climbing dunes. Fantastic place, really, really beautiful. I recommend it to anyone. The inland of Lithuania. If you're really into agriculture and farmland. Kaunas was nice. Small, but well, the center was small. It was a beautiful city too. But I wish I could have been traveling right through the Kaliningrad Oblast like I had originally planned. And gone along the coast all the way down to Poland. I think that would have been a nicer trip. Alas, that's how it is. War going on in Europe. But and then the Polish coast, all the history here, Pomerania, Warmia, Mazuria, new history, old history. There's lots of things to see here, so I can really recommend a trip to the Baltic countries and the northeast corner of Poland. The beaches here are really beautiful. The sand is so fine. It's definitely worth it. Okay, end of September. How fun is it? So yeah. Anyway, I think I'm kind of rounding off the trip here. It was a wonderful trip. I'm glad you joined me. I hope you enjoyed it too. And I look forward to some more road tripping with you. Take care. And I am a man who knows my way around. Ja, jag har ju jobbat på vulkaniseringsenheten på Torslandaverket i snart 30 år. Jag har nog vulkaniserat mer Volvo än vad Per Gyllenhammar, PG, har gjort. Fan vad jag har vulkaniserat. Jag har stått där på linjen och vulkaniserat en efter en annan. Det är ett hårt liv. Det är därför att man känner en samhörighet här nere i Gdansk med pojkarna på golvet här. Va? Håll käften på dig. Nu är det jag som kör. Jävla kärring och komma här och lägga sig i. Jag har stått i bilkö i snart, vad kan det vara? 4 minuter, nej, 40 minuter. Det kan ju vilken galning som helst bli helt tokig på. Nej, men nu kör vi. Ja, för fan.